Hey everybody, Dave from Proposing Matrix here. I'm going to be taking a break today. Well deserved one, I think, too. And let me just explain real quick. I've had a lot going on lately. My own health problems, my mother's health problems, and various other things that are going on around here. And I just need to play catch up for a little while, you know, and hopefully that'll help to get everything done. But anyway, so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to present to you a show that I did a couple of years ago, and it turned out to be a pretty good show, actually. It has to do with the Mars Rover, and it has to do with the fact that I don't know if it's anymore like this, but back then, if you could look at Google Earth and go to a certain area in Canada, way up there, I think it would be called Navuet or wherever that the province is up there, but one of those little islands or something. There's nothing there at all, except for NASA has a little base up there where they conduct practice for the Mars run. Well, anyway, there's sitting out there in plain sight. It was back then anyway. There was a Mars Rover, and if you look at if you can get Google Earth and get on there and look around the whole area, and if you go to like Street View, I think they call it, where you're down on the ground, you're kind of panning around looking. It looks a lot like Mars, except it's got a blue sky. But you know what? If you take a red filter, maybe a light red filter, and put it on your lens, or nowadays you can just use it in your software. But if you did that, you have Mars. Okay, what they're representing is Mars. So do we have a Mars rover on Mars? No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think it's just another thing like the moon landing was. It's something to just get more money so they can spend more money. That's the way science works these days with research. You know, I'll go way longer than I should here. Anyway, I just wanted to introduce this video we're going to watch today, okay? And I'm going to be here in the background, but I'm doing other things here. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you have a good time. And then you see that NASA's trying to pull the wool over our eyes yet one more time, okay? So enjoy the show, and God bless you, and I love you guys. Bye.
Hello everybody, hold on a second. Dave made another faux pas. Hold on folks. Okay, I can talk now. I was using Telegram to watch some stuff. I get a lot of good stuff. Oh, by the way, this is supposed to be the Matrix. Hi, folks. I'm Dave, and it's Tuesday night, and we're going to rock and roll tonight. I want to first of all, folks, explain what's going on, why that happened. I have Telegram, one of the things that I kind of monitor while we're on the air. If we're on a Telegram, it means we're on the air. I don't have the ability, I do actually, but I don't want to take the bandwidth up to look at other channels on this computer over here. So, anyway, so I forgot to turn the sound down, and I do that. It's in my ears, and you probably hear it too, as a matter of fact. So, and if you don't, I wasn't getting messages from Mars, and I wasn't, you know, or anything like that. So we're good. Now I want to thank, I keep getting letters from people. Saying thank you, and saying that they enjoyed the show, and I'm so glad to get those letters. I really am, because it's nice to know that you're not affecting people, but you're fellowship. I'm basically fellowshipping with you right now, although we're separated for miles or thousands of miles or whatever, and by time we're separated by that in many cases. But everybody always says that when you write, it's such an easy show to watch. We love it. We're not getting yelled at, and we're not being treated like we're morons. That's one thing that bothered me about some of these shows. You go to them, it's like they're trying to explain something to a 6-year-old child. It's not that hard. 6-year-old children are pretty with it. You can tell them stuff and pretty easily convince them or tell them what you're saying, and they'll understand it. Anyway, so thank you if you felt that way. If you felt like one guy said, or one woman, I can't remember, said, "Hey, it's like you're sitting in our living room with us, talking with us." I think it was Freemer actually that said that. And hi Freemer. If you're watching, I know you will eventually, so I'll just say hi. Maybe you'll need that hi in a couple of days, or whatever. But anyway, so what's going on is what's going on, folks. And I want to encourage some people because I'll get to this subject eventually, and I apologize, but there's a lot of people out there that have been listening to this QAnon stuff. And I have to. I listen to it periodically, and we're constantly promised, it's going to be next week. Trump's coming back next week. And then, no, it's going to be 2 weeks. And now it's going to be next month. And then all of a sudden it jumps back to hey, it's going to be tomorrow. Then it's going to be Friday. And things like that. Man, I'll tell you, after a few of those, you start wondering if it's ever going to happen. And I don't know. I've got no inside information. I don't know anybody important or anything like that knows about this. But all I can say, folks, is when it happens, it happens, okay? And I'm going to give you a while on the stretcher and say, if it happens, it happens, okay? Something has got to happen soon, or this republic is going to be gone forever. It's probably going to be one of the shortest takeovers of a republic or a country, any kind of country, ever in history. But unless something's done. And whether it's going to be Trump or somebody else or whatever, but I've got some friends. I got one friend in particular that's really bothered about it. It's like, it's got to be pretty sooner than ever. And I don't know. The United States has always been a last-minute thing. It's or even after the fact thing place. Like we knew that World War II was going to happen. We knew the Japanese were going to attack us, but we did nothing until after it happened. Then we got into the fray. Okay. World War I, I'm sure they knew that the Germans were going to sink the Lusitania. They probably had intel to that effect. I'm thinking the way things usually go, but they did nothing, and then we got embroiled in World War II. Or one, excuse me. So it's and this is ticking me off about work too. Even being a nurse, my boss has never thought about preventive medicine in any situation, and you can see things coming a mile away. Oh, those stairs are dangerous. They better get fixed. Well, yeah, we'll get to it sooner or later, and then the only reason they get fixed is because so-and-so, the stairs broke when they walked on them, and they fell over, and, somebody got hurt, they broke some bones or something. It always happens that way, each and every time. And I'm tired of it, frankly. Let's fix things before they break. Let's get proactive before we have to get proactive. Let's start preventing things. In medicine, let's start making cures instead of things that treat the symptoms of whatever a person has, And there really have these cures out there. If they can imagine to invent a vaccine in just a few months, they can fix something over a period of 10 years. When we were kids, they were constantly on TV. There was UNICEF, then there was the March of Dimes for muscular dystrophy. And then Jerry Lewis started to come on for different things, and I can't remember what he was on for right now. But Danny Thomas was another one. They'd have telethons and everything else. And granted, those are good things to donate to. Okay. But you got to start asking yourself after donating for 20 or 30 years, hey, I'm not the only person that's given $10 or $20 a month. There are probably other people, and the money that's going into this, you think that they can pay some researcher to fix it instead of just treating the symptoms. So, even in life, folks, let's treat the symptoms. Let's cure the ill instead of treating the symptoms. See, maybe that's a human thing, because that was probably a Freudian slip. And, I was going against something that I was preaching on. It was bizarre. Anyway, so where are we going tonight, folks? We're going to Mars. Okay? Not literally. We're going to go there allegorically. We're going to go there theoretically. We're going to philosophize about all this Mars talk, okay? But before you get to Mars, and the defining factor, maybe is the way to put it, we have to even question, did we go to the moon? Okay, now I'm getting into this big battle about the moon, what kind of bugs on the moon? A lunatic, that was a joke from a long time ago, folks, sorry. But anyway, so there's this muddy thing that we've been in for the last, 50 years? Right? Yeah, 50 years, 50 plus years now. And did we go to the moon? Okay. And that's what I didn't get. There's a video out there, folks. Oh, goodness. It's terrible when you think about these things after the fact, But if you want to, I'll tell you what I'll do when I play this one video. I'll try to download what I was looking for, and then maybe we can, because it's something very, very important that we need to listen to. But what I'm going to do is, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to talk to you, and then hopefully I can find this file. And now, ladies, I'm a man here, so it's us being able to do two things at once is pretty well hard to swallow. So I'll ask you to forgive me ahead of time. I just want to have this. Okay, let's Buzz Aldrin Moon. Okay, let's see if it comes up now. Oh yeah, there it is. So let me download this real quick. This is integral. I mean, if you want testimony, wow. Okay. If you want testimony of whether something happened or not, you talk to somebody that's been there, right? So let me. Oh goodness gracious! This is the process here. It always is this process. Let's see. Copy. And then I've got a program that rips these things from the internet. Okay, that was already on. Paste. Come on, baby. Here we go. Download. Okay. All right. So that's downloaded. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do here, if you would be so kind to permit me just a second here. Let's see. Downloads. Okay. Let's go here. Queued scheduled settings. You can always find these things when you're not looking for them. Oh, completed. There we go. I'm going to take this. I'm going to hit show in folder, and then I'm going to. I might as well let you know what I'm doing. That way you can walk along with me doing this. So, here it is. Let's copy it. And put it up in this obscure little corner up on my screen. And you know it's not going to stay there, right? It never goes where you want it to go, especially if you have Windows 11. Oh my goodness. It's a mystery wrapped around a riddle. Okay. So how was your weekend, folks? I'm assuming you had a pretty good weekend. I'm having a pretty good time trying to look for this stupid file. Okay. I'm not going to waste much more time on this. I don't think it's a waste of time, but you guys got better things to do than watching me fumble around on the computer looking for a file that I downloaded and not having it here. But like I said, hindsight's 2020, and mon ami, I can't find this thing. Well, let's see, what's this? And trying to watch this right now, it's not going to be an easy thing to do. Mars on Earth. Okay, no, I've got that. Hal Eli. Nope. Okay, well. My thousands apologies, folks. I with this stupid Windows 11. And there's got to be a way to fix this, but when you download something and you try to put it on your screen, it's the only thing that I don't like about it. Now, a lot of you might argue, oh, well, it's an invasion of privacy and stuff like that. And if it was something that was real important, I would certainly worry about it. But years ago, I was trying to talk to somebody about something. It was a relative. I can't remember who it was, but and we were talking about releasing information to those that might use that information against us. And oh, there it is. I found it. I'll be darned. Buzz Aldrin. So just look for that. Okay. So let me get back here. And I'm going to upload a file real quick. It shouldn't take very long. Because thankfully, okay. All right, there we go. Open. Yay! Yes. Thank you, Lord God, King of Israel. Okay. That'll be up in a minute, and then I won't have to worry about it anymore, and I can go on with my life and your lives and everything else. So, okay, it is uploaded. So, good. So let me do a little spiel about this, and then we'll go ahead and continue on with I will continue on with the discussion. Okay. Excuse me. So, yeah, so you got to start asking, did we really go to the moon? Okay. And being a patriot American, probably from the day I was born, up until right this very second, and up until my death, whenever that is, or the rapture, that would be nice. That would be wonderful, actually, especially if it was in the middle of this broadcast. All of a sudden, poof, I'm gone, and then hopefully all of you would be gone too, but there probably will be some that will remain. Okay, so did we go? Now, I was a 10-year-old boy when this all supposedly happened, okay? I remember it was on the East Coast. Those of you who lived on the West Coast had an advantage to watch this, and because you were 3 hours earlier than we were, and you got to actually be coherent and awake when this happened. Because I remember, I think it was at 11 or 12, 11 o'clock or midnight when they came out of the LEM, supposedly, and Buzz Aldrin issued those words, allegedly. And so, yeah, I was a little boy, 10 years old, and so from 10 years on, I was under the assumption, yeah, we went to the moon and stuff, and nobody dared question it. It's like, hey, good old American technology. It's, we're nobody's ever going to beat us. Boy, when you get into that framework, that mind work, you got to really be careful, because it talks. There's a scripture in somewhere in the Bible. I think it's in the Old Testament, or the Tanakh, I should say, where it says that when God knocked the people down, their spirit wasn't humbleness. It was, we're going to rebuild, and we'll rebuild it better. And that happened after the Twin Towers were knocked down. And not a good attitude to have when you're being judged. Of course, if you don't believe in God, you don't believe you're being judged, and you just carry on, and you exult against your enemies and fight them and win or try to win anyway. And anyway, I'm rambling on. That's not good. Excuse me, folks. So, did we go to the moon? Okay, now I want to play a couple of videos for you, okay? We have to establish the fact that if we went, we went. If we didn't, we didn't. Now, who would know we went? Well, Buzz Aldrin. Michael Collins is alive, but he was up in the command module the whole time, so he never was on the moon. But he played a very important part. I mean, without him, they would have never got back, okay? Or never got there, maybe, too. So, anyway, so Buzz Aldrin's really the only one alive. Neil Armstrong died, I think, probably about, 10, 15 years ago. Can't remember. So Neil Armstrong would be the only living proof that we went or we didn't go, okay? Now, how do I put this? I don't want to malign the man because he is a good man. He was one heck of an officer in the military. He... like many military personnel like to drink, okay? I think that kind of helps them get through some of the things they've seen. And it's therapy for them. But sometimes the therapy turns into an addiction, and what do you have? But an alcoholic. Or if it's drug use, a heroin junkie or whatever. But anyway, I've read, and you'll see from this video, that it appears that maybe Aldrin had a couple of drinks before he was asked this question by this little girl. And but one thing that's nice about liquor, if there's anything that's nice about it, is when people drink it, a lot of times they tend to tell the truth. They reveal things that have been hidden up in the mind and in the heart, and it's a depressant. It depresses the central nervous system, but it also causes people to kind of deal with themselves. If you've ever been around a drunk, I'm so sorry. One of the things you always hear is, I'm so sorry, and when I was younger, I went to bars and stuff like that. But and that's what you hear. Is you hear people lamenting either about their spouse, their wife, their husband, their job they just lost, or something like that. Very few people go into a bar to celebrate. I mean, it happens, but mostly it's to get rid of sadness and grief and make it go away for a little while. And I'm not condoning drinking, okay, by any means. I think it's a sin myself, but in moderation, I think it's okay. But when you drink to make things go away, there are other ways to handle that. So anyway, in this film, or this brief video that we're going to watch, a little girl asked Buzz Armstrong. Boy, do I got... Okay, Neil Armstrong's dead, David. He's gone. Got it? Okay. Buzz Aldrin, and I should remember this guy. He's from New Jersey, for goodness sakes. I see, that gives him an elevation right there in my esteem. But just kidding. So she asked him why we haven't been back to the moon, and I'll let the video explain it to you better. Okay. Let's see if I can show this with this other thing being down here.
Okay. Zoe, favorite.
What is your favorite thing about space?
Going there. Going there.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going.
There you go. You heard it out of the man's own lips. They never went. Now you got to remember, one of the reasons probably why if he has been drinking here, it sure appears that way to me anyway. I'm no authority, but having been around people like that a lot in my life, excuse me, I can pretty well assure you Now, from his mannerisms and his almost slurred speech that he took a couple in before he went into this interview. So you could when let me put it this way: if you deceive the American public and the world for that matter, saying that you went to the moon and you really didn't go, if you have a conscience at all, I mean, even a small one, it's going to eat at it. And especially after 50 years, your conscience has been eaten at so much. Now, remember that if they didn't go and he was involved in this, he was. Let me backtrack here. The whole thing is that they thought that they were going to do this dramatization, and you'll find out from the next video, on the premise that when it really did happen, that they would go. Okay, so when they were kind of innocently duped into believing that they were going at a later time, and that in mind, that it would make it a lot easier to do, for them anyway. But that promise was broken if it was ever made, and they end up going out. Okay, so it's perpetuated as a fact, whereas it was just a storyline that was videotaped or filmed, I should say, back then. And being that, you're sworn to secrecy, first of all. And I've heard from more sources that said that Buzz and the other two, Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins, were basically sworn to secrecy, and that if you ever say anything about this, your children or your wife are going to disappear or be seriously harmed, and and things like that. Now, it's interesting that I think Buzz's wife has passed on, and his son, he had a son. The son has grown, probably in his 40s by now, I would think, if not more. And because Buzz has got to be in his, mid to late 70s, I would say. Anyway, so the fact that something might happen to his wife, well, she's not around anymore, and the son is probably taken up an identity. I think that he hasn't been on TV talking about anything. Let's put it that way. And you think that they would search him out and ask him about stuff. But anyway, either that or they would say, we tried to hunt down Buzz Aldrin's son and we couldn't find him, or we found him and he didn't want to speak with us. But you never hear anything about that. At least I haven't, and I tend to watch things like this. But anyway, so he pretty well now, aside from himself being taken out, which, if he's in his late 70s and he's maybe got some disease or something that we don't know about, maybe a pickled liver, who knows? But if that's the case, then he can speak freely, and it's like, to the powers that be, yeah, big deal. You take me out. I've gotten a story out, and I'm going to cause people to question whether we really went or not, because we didn't. So anyway, I thought that was quite interesting. There's another segment of that where somebody else is asking them questions, but I couldn't find that. But that was enough for me. Anyway, there's no way that you can say that he's talking about something else, or it's an allegory or something like that. No, that was definitely the moon landing, and we didn't go. Okay. So now, if it was filmed here on Earth, there had to be a producer. There had to be somebody that directed the whole thing, right? Well, there was. His name was Stanley Kubrick. And you might remember the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. He was the one that made that movie. There are other movies that he did, and he'll talk about them, or they'll talk about them in this little clip we're going to watch. But he comes out, and he's toward the end of his life, and and you're going, well, he died 15 years ago. How come it took this long? Well, he made the people that are filming him here promise not to release it for 15 years. That way he'd be gone for sure, because supposedly he was dying from something here. And, his wife would be gone, and his children would be gone, and things like that. So, again, he's another one that would have nothing to lose. Okay. Especially if it was let out, the news was let out 15 years later. So I want to go ahead and play this. Maybe we can discuss it a little bit, and then there's another video that talks about and I want to show you guys something that I found. It's really weird because they have these ideas. Gee, I wonder if this was faked, and if it was, where. And I don't know. The Lord must endow me with the right words to use or something on Google or on. I don't use Google that much anymore, but on DuckDuckGo, and bam, it comes right up. So it's like, Lord saying, look here, Yahweh saying, look here, you'll find something, and I do, and bam, there it is. So all the credit goes to him, of course, right? So let's watch this video. It's an interview with Stanley Kubrick. Now, if you're like me, don't get mad, okay? If you're like me, you're going to see the interviewer kind of bossing him around, Now, here you have one of the greatest filmmakers in the entire universe, in the history of film, and some younger guy is asking him questions and kind of telling him, no, I want you to do it this way, I want you to do it that way, think this way, think that. I'm sure that Stanley Kubrick issued those same words to the people that during his movies. I think what did he do? The Shining. He also did a couple of other horror films. And anyway, I'm reminiscing here. So anyway, let's watch this video, and don't get mad at the interviewer. I mean, if you do, you do. But I'm not the kind of person to sit there and watch somebody badgering a dying old man. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this. I think it's about 10 minutes long, and then we'll go from there. Okay, because we got lots to talk about.
On the conversations, everybody, just mouth them.
This is Stanley Kubrick. I think that if the reigning powers had any great respect for good pictures or the people who could make them, that this respect was probably very well tempered by the somewhat cynical observation that poor and mediocre pictures might just as well prove successful as their pictures of higher value.
I was going to say, like, why not CNN but who cares? White Truth, right? Is it about a future movie or something coming out, or?
No.
Okay.
It's not about any movie. It's not about the movies I've made in the past. It's a confession of sorts.
Okay. I mean, about you cheated on your wife, you plagiarized.
I would never do that, no.
Plagiarized something.
It's about a movie I made that nobody is aware of, even though they've seen it.
Okay.
Is that intriguing? Do I have you intrigued?
Well, I mean, see if I understand what you said. It's about a movie you made, no one knows you made. Is that what you said?
I perpetrated a huge fraud, which I am now about to detail.
Okay.
Involving the United States government and NASA.
All right.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
The moon landing hoax?
That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it.
You're serious, and okay.
I am serious. I'm dead serious. The conspiracy theorists were right on this occasion.
Why?
I don't know about Paul McCartney's death, but this they were right about.
Okay, why in God's name would I don't know what to ask you first. Why the hell, if you're telling the truth, why would you do it? Why are you telling me? I mean, what the?
Don't you think it's important for people to know the truth?
Yeah, yes, certainly.
They had a massive fraud, an unparalleled perpetrated against them. They should know.
Okay.
I mean, they're already suspicious of the government. They may as well have their suspicions confirmed.
Okay.
And justified.
And this, why now? I mean, we're almost at the 30-year anniversary. What took so long? Why, if this is true, why?
I won't go into that. It has to do with personal
Okay.
of evolution and influences.
And, well,
I'll go into that.
is that why you look a little haggard right now? Because you look a little worn. No offense. Like,
Well, also, yeah, because I haven't been taking care of myself too well. I've been drinking a lot, but
is that because of the stress of this?
of course, stress, guilt, just conflict of all kinds.
Wow. I mean, so you feel bad about this, clearly. I mean, this is
I
not...
do feel bad about it. I also feel proud of it. It's a terrible conflict.
Because you've pulled off one of the greatest hoaxes ever because of your...
And because I made a film, if you want to call it a film, which I consider to be my masterpiece.
And you can't take credit or even talk about it
Well,
you are now.
I'm hereby taking credit.
Right, but you can't actually go out. You're doing... When people see this,
No
you'll be dead.
Until 10 years.
Right, or
15
15, yeah.
After my death.
So you can't talk to Roger Ebert about it, you know. Does that frustrate you?
I have to pay the consequences for the decision that I made many years ago to go along with this.
Like a deal with the devil.
It's Faustian, to be sure.
And is that why you got such power in Hollywood? I mean, that would explain that.
Why I have the freedom I have, that was part of it, yes.
So they said, do this moon thing and we'll give you...
When I made Spartacus, I didn't have this kind of freedom.
Right.
But I have it now.
So what came
And
first, the genius or the
it was
fraud?
NASA's doing.
Well, what came first, the genius or the fraud? I mean, did the fraud enable the genius, or was the genius released
Well, I'd like
the
to
fraud?
think the genius came first.
Right.
But some frauds are hard to bypass, especially if you have an ego and you're an artist and you're presented with a challenge, the likes of which you've never seen and will probably never see again. You don't even think of the morality of it. You're just completely swept away by the flattery of it and the juices inside you, which make you want to do it as the artist you are innately. You don't think of anything else.
Tell me about the making of it. So, was it difficult? I mean, committing the greatest fraud, what you want to call it. I'm not saying it's a... Okay.
Think a lot about that at the time.
I know, so I'm not making a moral judgment, but making this huge, ambitious, technical faux landing, was it harder than 2001? Was it very difficult? I mean, what was the experience like? Artistically, practically, emotionally, what was it like for you?
Nothing was harder than 2001.
So 2001 was harder than faking the moon landing?
It actually was.
Because you learned things on 2001 and...
Yes. I mean, 2001 was very ambitious. And that's not to say that faking the moon landing was not ambitious, but yeah, I learned things making 2001, which is why I got this gig in the first place, right?
Right, that makes sense. So what was the experience like?
It was easy for me because, well, first of all, I didn't think a whole lot about the morality of it, as I said. If I had, I might have been more hesitant, more stifled in my work, but I didn't. And I could see that Neil was, actually. He was bothered by it.
More than Buzz Aldrin or anyone else involved?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
About
because in
what?
a way, everything was going to center around him. He was the one who was supposed to come down off the ladder and announce the step for mankind.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And what have you. He sensed that this was going to be a life-changing experience for him, and I mean on a major scale. Actually, he was rather tortured by it the rest of his life.
Really? I mean, is that why you didn't give interviews?
Yes, and in fact, that actually began to affect my own perception of it, watching what happened to him.
Okay, in what way? Just seeing the deterioration of him? And I mean, was he depressed or?
He was depressed. He was drinking heavily, bitter, scared, just phobic, avoiding people.
And that guy Bart Sibrel or somebody tried to get him to swear in a
He
Bible.
affected me. I mean, when I say he affected me, that's why there was so much time in between films for me. Between Full Metal Jacket and between The Shining and Full Metal Jacket was about 6 years. Between Full Metal Jacket and Eyes Wide Shut is 13 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of that time was spent just
emotionally processing?
Yes,
Something?
it became very conflicting for me. I was proud of my work, but at the same time, and this was a lot because of Neil's influence, not consciously. He didn't do this to me consciously, but I spent a lot of time with him, and each time I did, I became more and more bothered, troubled by my own participation in this.
Okay. Wow, what would he say? I mean, did he explain the source of his depression?
He was on the verge of tears. He did not cry. I won't say he cried, but he was on the verge of tears so many times because of what he did.
I mean,
what he participated in. It's almost as if he thought up the idea, you know?
Right. He felt that guilt.
He was almost used, really.
Okay.
But he's the one who felt the guilt. I'm sure NASA did not feel that much guilt.
And, I mean, why did he go up, I wonder? I wonder why. Because they promised him a seat in 3 years when they figured it out. They kept lying about it being possible. So why do you think he did it? Why did Armstrong do it in the first place? He thought, they kept saying, we'll be ready in 3 years and you'll go then. Just lie now and we'll go in 3 years. The funding will keep going and we'll figure this out and you'll go.
Oh, actually go.
Right,
okay,
yeah. And
okay.
but they were lying, you know, and they figured it out. And he got really, so cynical. Got it?
Okay.
So why did Armstrong go? I mean, he was such a moral, principled man. Why would he go on a fake moon mission? I don't believe that.
Well, they strung him along because they led him to believe, oh, don't worry, we're going to have the money in a few years, and we'll actually go, and then you will go.
They'll have. You mean they'll have the technology in a few years?
Yes.
Okay.
They will have enough. They will be able to actually perform the miracle of going to the moon. And yes, he would be in the saddle.
So in other words, okay, let's make this clear. Kennedy set a deadline, psychological deadline of the 60s. They knew they couldn't beat it.
Right. But they could.
They could have.
If they did.
Right, and if they did, you're saying they sincerely thought that they would really get there within a few years.
I believe, yes, they did think so.
Because that's what that's...
Although some didn't. There was a difference of opinion. There were some that just believed honestly that we will never be able to get there. There's just no chance.
That Werner and I used to have coffee in the mornings, and he was like, there's no fucking way. Even Werner von Braun.
All right.
So you go with that. Some people didn't believe that you could go. Even.
Well, Werner von Braun, of course, didn't.
The director didn't think so.
The man was just too brilliant. He knew that we couldn't do it.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm talking about a guy working on two lost causes, the Nazism and the quest for the moon. I mean, he really did, and he didn't tell them. I mean, did he ever tell them? Did he tell NASA? Did he tell the president we can't go? I mean, he must have been broke the news.
He was very old, of course, at the time, and a lot of people just dismissed him. Younger, more ambitious people. Some of them really thought we could get there.
Right.
Or wanted to believe it. Maybe on a conscious level they knew we couldn't, but they just wanted to believe the impossible because they were so full of themselves.
And so full of the dream.
Yes. The dream was very powerful.
And that's what beguiled Armstrong. Here is a noble stand-up guy, and he didn't want to be part of the lie, but he knew he'd get a seat if he played ball on when they actually did go up.
He was too good for this.
But that day never came, obviously.
That day never came.
And what did that do to him? I mean...
It gradually destroyed him, I think.
Okay.
He deteriorated. Like I said, he drank a lot. He was full of self-recrimination, and so was I. Well, mainly from his influence. It's like I caught it from him.
And now tell a story about, I talked to him one last time before his death, and he made me promise to get this news out. It was too great. It was, this one last story.
I died before him.
Okay, one last conversation that right? The last conversation you had was about 3 months ago, and he said that one of that he record like he's going to write a letter and put it in a drawer, and maybe his wife someday will give it out. But he's like, all right, Stanley, you're a media guy, you got to tell the truth one day. Right before, but he urged me to tell the truth. He couldn't because of reasons that because he was a government employee his whole life and he had a government pension, and here I am a millionaire. Like, you can afford to, Stanley. Tell the truth. I still get a government pension. You know what I'm saying? And that's been eating on you to do this, and that's why you're not doing it now. You're doing it 15 years from now, or whenever. Like, in other words, you're telling this. That's why you're not announcing on CNN. It's because you're going to honor his wish, but you're not ready for it now to come out. But you're doing this for
Why
you.
am I putting it off? Because I think I'll be
Because you don't want your family. You want to be dead,
Right.
and you want your family to have 15 years on it. Your wife will probably be dead, and your kid will be grown.
Right.
You want distance from your legacy, from this truth. That's it. Okay.
Right.
The director Stanley Kubrick, one of film's greatest yet most controversial figures, died today. He was 70.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
Well, what did you think about that, folks, huh? It wasn't as full of an interview as I thought it was going to be, but it was pretty good. Basically, Stanley Kubrick said, I shot the video, we faked the moon landing, and I feel bad about this. I feel guilty. How many of you, I'm raising my hand, have plunged into something that you knew you shouldn't have done and said, oh, well, I don't know, figure it out later. Even after becoming a believer, some of us, have done that. And I mean, it could be something small, it could be something gigantic, but and of course there is always forgiveness from Yahweh, as long as we're truly sorry in our hearts and begging His forgiveness. And that forgiveness came on the cross over 2,000 years ago. So I don't know if you noticed it when they showed the picture of Neil Armstrong, and they showed a close-up of his ring. That was a Masonic ring. He was a Mason. Okay. But I guess even his Masonic beliefs didn't keep him from feeling guilt and everything like that. So I don't know how he grew up or whatever. But he definitely was feeling guilty about what he did to the American people. And like they said in the thing we just watched, the video, man, I felt like Biden for a minute. The thing. Anyway, the video we just watched is that it sounds like they said, okay, well, we don't have the money to go right now. Just do this, and when we do go, you'll have first crack at it. And they said when we have the money, and they've had NASA's had buku bucks given to them over the years. It's amazing, and you got to wonder about NASA too, because look at the names of their rocket ships. They're all named after false gods: Apollo, Mercury, Gemini, the twins. It's amazing. People just don't get it. Later on with the space shuttle, at least some of them were called like Challenger or, then we have Atlantis. That's another demonic idea. And we can get into that. We ought to do a show about Atlantis. I think I'll talk to Brian about that. I think that would be awesome. I'm going to make a note of it here because I'll forget it by the time the show ends. Okay, so bear with me here. Atlantis show. Okay. There we go. Trust me, folks. It's weird, and we'll get into this someday when we do chemtrails again. But I have met more people my age and younger who are becoming very forgetful. Okay. Now, in my 60s, I can say, well, yeah, that's part of getting older, and it is. Okay. But when you start talking to people who are in their 20s and 30s and 40s and even 50s, and they're saying, yeah, I forget stuff all the time. You know, it's like, okay, well, there's something going on here. So I think there's something in, maybe it's the aluminum in the chemtrails that are, it's getting inhaled and then getting into the bloodstream and getting stored up in the brain tissue. So, okay, so we watched those 2 videos. And I forgot what the 3rd video is about. Let's watch it. This is going to be a longer show than usual, okay, folks? Because after this, I want to go and do a little short but sweet slide presentation of what I did because I looked up this place, okay? So, and it is in Canada. Okay, so let's watch this. If I see this video as something that's taking us down a road that, you know, we really don't necessarily need to go down, I'll stop it. But I think this is the one of the guy that created his own rover. And this is just an ordinary run-of-the-mill guy. And it says Mars on Earth. So let's see. No, I think this is the one of the people that actually go there. They send people there. You think these people would get the idea? They send people there. It's got a real rover there. It's got, you know, and everything else. It looks super real like Mars and everything. And they go there, and why can't they put 2 and 2 together? You know, that maybe these pictures are coming from Canada and not from Mars. Okay, so let's look at this here. And if it's something that looks like it's going to go long or something, I'll just go ahead and nix it, and we'll get back on other things. Okay, here we go.
The first time we arrived on Devon Island, we landed in this plane. The team was very small, we were just 4 people. And I was just completely taken aback by how Mars-like the whole landscape was.
Especially you're flying in, it looks just like the moon base. The land is desolate.
We had to take 7 flights to get here. It's a really tough undertaking, but it's extremely fascinating.
This is a place that is barren.
Vast, intimidating.
You're rambling through areas that are quite dangerous.
It's isolated and remote and rocky, just like the surface of Mars is.
I think someday there will be humans walking on Mars, definitely.
My guess is that the first people who land on Mars will say something to the effect, oh wow, this looks just like Devon Island, where we trained. My name is Pascal Lee. I'm a planetary scientist. I work with the Mars Institute and the SETI Institute. Devon Island is the world's largest uninhabited island. It's cold, dry. I call this place Mars on Earth. We find exactly the same looking canyons, valleys, and gullies here.
It's just very desolate and empty of everything. Here, there's no road to go back to.
There are no streets, but there'll be street view. My name is Katya Minitenko, and I am working on all things related to Mars and Google, sort of bridging the 2 things.
We have an amazing team from Google. We are adding our base camp and our surroundings to Google Street View.
We're going to be able to see it and welcome everybody to Mars.
I've been associated with Pascal ever since we began this project back in 1996. As camp manager, I'm responsible for the smooth running of camp and getting all of the equipment up and running and operating smoothly. So one of the first things I do when I get up in the morning is start the generators, start the water pump, and sometimes I cook breakfast.
All right, dig in.
In the meantime, the people in camp are just starting to wake up.
Yeah, we've been getting up at 6 every morning. Steve and I and John.
Wake up every morning, brush your teeth, give yourself a bath using baby wipes. You go to breakfast, you're constantly covered in many layers, you're wearing gloves. It is the high Arctic, so temperature is always down right around freezing. I've been helping out with the Humvees, working on those, and it's a new experience for me.
I'm David North, and I'm an engineer at the NASA Langley Research Center. I'm happy to be part of the science and research that will someday lead to a younger generation landing on Mars.
Altitude 502 feet.
There's something on the other side of the hill there, too. You see this green stuff over there?
It's very difficult to fly on Mars because the atmosphere is so thin. So the trick is to make your vehicle very light. And this vehicle is a vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. And the idea there is there are no prepared runways on Mars. So you have to land in such a way that you can land in rough terrain or terrain that doesn't allow for rolling landings.
Tipping over is definitely an issue for this aircraft. So there's one of the things we're learning about this aircraft is maybe the wheelbase needs to be a little bit bigger, particularly if it's a robotic aircraft and there's no one there to fly it.
I bring my dog up here because he has a very specific role. We are in the Arctic. We're not at the top of the food chain. It's the polar bear that's at the top of the food chain. And so we have a dog here as part of our bear wildlife deterrent system. The hope is that my dog would be able to sniff out a bear and not attack it, but distract the bear and buy us a little more time. The science is only part one of our work. The other part is we're learning how to explore. Okay, so today we're going to Astronaut Canyon. It's spectacular and it's really very similar in morphology to what we see on Mars. It takes about 2.5 hours to get there.
I think this could be one of our panos for the Voyager story.
We're going to be out on an ATV ride and heading far away from the habitat, and all around you, 360 degrees, you see nothing but rocks.
So the way you would explore Mars is driving your ATV wearing a spacesuit, and while you're riding, you're connected to your reserves so that they will recharge the oxygen tanks and the batteries in your backpack. Your ATV would be a self-driving robot that would follow you in your exploration on foot. This is why we're here. It has exactly the profile, the slopes, the topography, if you will, of some of the canyons we see on Mars.
I am actually collecting 7 to 10 panoramas to create a Voyager story.
It's not just spending money to build a rocket and train people and build hardware and fly to Mars with the fuel. It's the fact that this will galvanize an entire new generation of people to go into science.
We're standing where no one has ever stood before.
This is a place that pushes us to some limit. It's a perfect place to train for Mars because it's a lot more forgiving than Mars. You can make your mistakes here so that by the time you go to Mars, you won't.
The winds are so strong. You have to be always on the lookout, so it's a little weary.
What we're going to do with the rocks that we collect is to try to figure out what hit here. We still don't know if it was an asteroid or a comet.
And so what are you hoping to find?
So we're going to be looking for traces of an extraterrestrial signature. So for example, rare earth elements.
Oh my gosh, stunning. I don't think I'll ever look at the rock the same way.
It's a desire to know more and to delve into our past and delve into our future.
I think it matters for new people looking into either planetary geology or engineering.
Studying space and astronomy opens up your mind. It's almost like traveling. You understand so much more about the physics that surround you in your everyday life.
So this is one of the first generation concept suits for Mars. To go to Mars, you have to have a good spacesuit. And right now, we do not have a spacesuit that is going to be able to work on Mars. You cannot hop around with a spacesuit that heavy. And so part of what we're doing here is to find ways to reduce the mass of our future spacesuit for Mars.
It's heavy, a little surreal. It really feels like you're somewhere else. I can't believe I'm wearing one.
I don't find Devon pleasant in spite of how often I come here. I don't come here because I somehow relish the discomfort that we have here. You know, I am cold. You know, I miss my family, but somehow this place has a dimension to it that makes me think that, hey, this is all worth it. This is so close to making it happen.
Look at this. Man, she's awesome.
I hope you see the images of it and you really want to go there. There's so many stories where street views encouraged or moved people or inspired people to do something extraordinary. And even if one person get more interested in studying other planets by just looking at street view, I'll be really happy.
It's part of our nature. I think we always have the yearning to explore.
I think when we think about going to other planets or colonizing them, we tend to think, why would you want to go there? It's cold, it's rough. Well, that's the same thing the people in the old world said 400 years ago. But maybe 1,000 years from now, when people have colonized Mars, they'll think, well, this is normal. You know, this is, I live on Mars. So what?
Okay, that was nice. Nice little story. I don't know if you... okay. If you were to take those pictures they were showing of the panorama, minus the clouds, of course, and you were to add a red hinge to it, or hue, tinge or hue, excuse me, not hinge. I don't know. You would probably have pictures of Mars, okay? They didn't show the rover there, which I thought was interesting, because there is one there, and I'll show you where it is. It didn't show a lot of things that you're going to see here in a minute. I got onto Google Earth one day, like I said, and I managed to find this place using the coordinates that I got off of one of the websites that I was looking at. And it still wasn't easy to find, because you think that being the only little outpost on a whole deserted island, and a desert island at that, because it is like an Arctic desert, it would be easy to find, but it wasn't. Now, what I wasn't able to get, or I just didn't have time to get, down kind of southwest of the area you're going to see, there's an array of satellite dishes, or two satellite dishes. It looks like a little bit of a tent or for somebody to live in, or, you know, a workshop or something for when people go there. So there is that, and it looked like the dishes were pointing south and west, which would be perfect for picking up satellites. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and share this page now, okay, and then go through it with you. And this is the first time I've ever done this with this program, so I apologize for any faux pas that happened during watching it. Okay, so all right, here we go. We're there. Okay, you are looking at big, beautiful Earth, and let's see. I want to go to that page. La 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 la. Okay. There it is. I do know. Hold on, folks. I just got to find where I'm at here. It was right there. Huh. Did it disappear on me? Okay. Okay, there it is. Google Earth. Okay. So that's that picture, and then this is Google Earth. Okay, see, okay, I am in control. Okay, so here you have the the North American continent. Okay, and then we're going to go quite a ways north, so we're kind of going to leave the U.S. right there. And just for verifications, you got British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, and you can just see the name Newfoundland over there if you want to go check it out. There it is, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. Hey, Maine, what's that doing down there? Anyway. Okay, so you see our little blue dot there, right? I happened to put that there so I can find where we were going, because every time I didn't put it there, I'd have to search all over again for it. It wasn't easy, okay? So, and you can see Greenland there. So, and then the Arctic, the North Pole is up here somewhere. So, and if you look at the coordinates, yeah, okay, they're live. We're at 76 degrees north. Now, true north, or the very top of the earth, is 90 degrees. So it's just 14 degrees away from the actual north axis pole, and 89 degrees west. I know here we're at 122 or something like that here in Oregon. So anyway, I don't know what it would be due north of. I don't know. I don't have time to speculate about things like that. I can get off on a whole rabbit trail. That don't want to do that. Okay, so let's zoom in a little more, and you can see that we're getting closer. And I don't like it when it does this, but it does it. Okay. All right. Boy, I'm glad I'm not planning on landing there from space or something using this Google map. Okay, so we're getting closer and closer. And this must have been done in the middle of summer or toward the end of summer, because there's no or very little snow here at all. Okay, so, and look at the landscape, folks. We'll get in a little closer. Man, there's nothing there. If I was going to pick a place that might look like Mars, I notice a lot of times they said it looks just like Mars. Well, have you been there? If you haven't been there, you can't say that. If you're looking at somebody else's pictures, which can be doctored, then you're deceived. So until you are there with your camera taking pictures of it, or you can somehow get a view from a probe that's there, if there was one there, then that's another story. But anyway, so we'll go back here. Remember they were talking about that Astronaut's Canyon. That's right here. I hope you can see my cursor, but it's kind of like to the right and up a little bit of the Mars lander camp. Okay, so let's get a little closer, and you can see, here's an old crater, folks, and I'm a young Earth guy, so I don't believe that this crater is millions of years old. I think it probably happened before the flood and then got filled in during the flood, but I wasn't there, so I can't say. That'd be my best guess. So, all right, so we're going to get a little closer, and man, the landscape is really starting to look otherworldly, isn't it? Okay, so we're getting even a little closer, and you saw this rock. If you probably didn't note it, but this rock was, or tower, or whatever it is, was there. So we're starting to see that there's a habitation here. The only habitation on the whole island, that is. And you can see that there's several tents. Remember, they were showing the tents. I think that their video was pre this. How am I saying? Before they actually built all this. So I know I have Mars Lander there. It's not actually right there, so please don't pay attention to that. But you got tents and tents all around, probably labs and everything else. Okay, I can imagine this being the outhouse. It's a very important structure on Mars. If anyway, you might have laughed with that if you didn't. It's just a private joke I have with myself. Okay, and then there's another structure out here, and you can tell these are three-dimensional because they're leaving shadows from the sunlight. Okay, and if it was a CGI, it's a darn good one, but I don't think it is. Okay, so let's go up a little bit. And let's go, oh boy, where'd it go? Ah, there it is. Okay. It's a ways from the camp, so maybe these people didn't even see it. you know? Because if this is a road that's leading out, this ridge here is going to prevent them from seeing down there. All right, so let's get in a little closer. And this is if this was Mars, this would be the thing that brought the rover down. Okay, I know they say that it came down on a parachute. Well, this whole thing came down on a parachute. And if you look at that, first of all, they're showing, if you look at the actual ship entering the atmosphere of Mars, and supposedly anyway, but and you look around, you'll see that they use a drogue chute and then a regular chute, which to me would be way too small, because if the atmosphere on Mars is as thin as they say it is, then, you know, you would need a much wider chute to get down there without crashing, right? Doesn't that make sense to you? Unless they, you know, have an afterburner, but I don't see, it showed in the video them using a rocket to help land, but I don't see any indication of that here. Okay, you would see like almost like in a star pattern blowout from underneath the ship, and it's not here because they brought this in maybe by truck or whatever and dropped it off. But this here, I don't know what that is. That looks like it's maybe a refueling station. Maybe it's maybe it goes and plugs in there at night or something. I don't know. I know it's got solar panels on it and generates its own electricity, but so anyway, that is the view of the station that they have up in Canada. Okay. All right. Now, I didn't, for some reason, this program I'm using will not allow me to just show pictures, and it's really disturbing. But anyway, I wanted to be able to show pictures, because if you look at some of the pictures they're showing you of Mars, the sky is blue. Okay, there's no way the sky would be blue on Mars. Okay, a lot of the pictures from Mars show a kind of like a filtered effect from, and they say it's from the sun going through all the dust and stuff on Mars, which is a good explanation. But it could also be this that they have windstorms here, and that it kicks up a lot of stuff, and then they just use a red filter. I took a picture, or actually I didn't take a picture, but I got a picture from online, and I took it, and, you know, of course, the soil around it had a red tinge. It looks like they drilled a borehole to get a sample, and I would say the hole is probably maybe 2 inches in diameter. Yeah, maybe 4, I don't know. But, and you know, when you dig a hole that way, it always leaves dirt, kind of like in like a volcano shape, conical. And so, you know, the dirt looked red because the rest of the picture looked red. Like on Photoshop, which I really like. It's one of my favorite programs in the entire universe. And I took it, and I took the redness out of it. And when I took the redness out of it, it left brown, just like if it was in that picture. Okay, just like it was in that picture. And the dirt was that was foaming the cone of the hole was also brown. It wasn't red. Okay, so you can do a lot with a red filter. Okay, and I guess people do. And I mean, if it's what they're doing here, that's what's definitely what's done. But anyway, let's see. So you can kind of get an idea again of what the topography looks like there. And, you know, this is a perfect setup because, well, if you don't want to show the water, if this is Mars, right? But you can say, well, you know, this is an ancient riverbed that was left on Mars from when there was water on Mars. And, boy, you could convince a lot of people. I'd believe it if I knew better. Oops, you can't go that far east because it shows green. Well, you know, it'll just show a deeper color red if you were to put red in there. So the blue sky is one tip that's tipped me off. They forgot to use the red filter or something on it. And, or on those pictures, I should say, not it, those pictures. And if you take the red out, it looks same color as this right here. Exactly the same color. So, okay, so you got a little red there. That's showing more that, you know, they can use it for Mars. Maybe that's why they picked it. They saw the topography and that there was a lot of red in the soil. Okay, and that just shows me that it's iron rich, you know. Oh, can't show the snow, but under red it probably looks like something else. And they've shown some anomalies on Mars too. Let me get out of this thing. I think we're done here. Stop sharing. Okay. So it should go back to me, and it does, I think. Here we go. So now I can enlarge this and get out of it. Or, there we go. That's better. So, yeah, it's funny, before I got on, my wife goes, why don't you clean up that area behind you? It's a mess. And she was right. I cleaned it. It's a lot. I know this doesn't look like clean to you, but those are all books that I've read or need to read. And stethoscope, well, you know, I just hung it there because there was no other place to put it right now. And anyway, so guys, listen to your wives. They know a lot of stuff that we don't know or we refuse to acknowledge. So, okay, so I said that. Something I wanted to say, you know. And so let's see. We watched that. So my contention, folks, is that we didn't go to Mars. We didn't go to the moon, definitely. I mean, if the guy that filmed it back in 1969 says that he filmed it, then that's what happened. And if he gives a reasonable story saying that they didn't have the money to go, well, they could drum up money anywhere, but maybe they went into the pockets of a bunch of people. Maybe a young George Soros got a bunch of that money or something, or a Rockefeller or a Rothschild or something, you know. But they said that it cost what, $2 billion or something for that space program to go to the moon. And if they didn't go there, folks, where did the money go? They probably padded a lot of pockets back then, and pocketbooks maybe too. Okay, so we didn't go to the moon, and if they faked it, and they did such a good job at faking it, they're going to try to do it again. You know, if something works, you don't throw it out. You wait a little while and you use it again. Okay, and it's all through human history they've done that. You know, it's every war has started out that way. You know. You don't remember the first war, but the scenario for the second war is exactly the same as the scenario that started the first war. But you get people's attention off of that, and you get their emotions built up on what's happening here and now. You know, and then they forget about the past, and until they're halfway or so into the war, and they go, wait a minute, you know, but then by then it's too late. Too many of our guys have died. Too many guys on the other side have died. Who would probably sit down and have a meal together in a peaceful situation. But because their leaders tell them that the other guy's bad, you know, you got to go kill him. So anyway, so the whole Mars thing, I think I seriously contend that there's not, they may have sent things up there, but that was just window dressing to make us believe that there's actually something there. So my question would be, Elon Musk, why are you considering going there when there's nothing there right now? And when the conditions are so inhospitable? First of all, you got to get through the Van Allen belt. How are you going to do that? Okay. Now, he looks like he's building a pretty good spaceship. It looks like it's pretty modern day, like it has a lot of features that they didn't have in the ships that went, or they were supposed to go to the moon. Of course, 50 years have gone by and technology is a lot more improved. But getting through the Van Allen belt, getting to Mars without getting hit by an errant meteorite, you know, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. But evidently, Elon Musk thinks it's possible, and I just hope he has all his ducks in a row before he decides to get any further on this endeavor. You know, I don't think, aside from machinery, I don't think that we've ever sent anything farther, any man farther than probably about 300, 400 miles out in space. So, and when you're up that high, it sure seems like you're a lot higher than you are But anyway, folks, it's what are we? An hour and 17 minutes into this, and I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about in this regard. Again, I want to plug Brian's website. I'm Awake Are You? And then there's another one. I can't remember the name of that one. Sorry. I want to plug Ralph Epperson's stuff. Ralph has been a lot right, a lot more than he's been wrong, if he's been wrong at all. Online, you can get this thing, Abolish the Federal Reserve. We're looking at that right now again, me and my family. And because I have grandchildren that are interested in learning these things, okay? It's nice having grandchildren that care, about what's going on. And so anyway, we're getting into that, but he's got a lot of neat stuff on there. So I would advise just doing a Go Duck search. I'm not going to talk about Rumble. I mean about Google anymore, because it's trying to get the truth on Google is like trying to get chicken meat off a cow. It's just not possible. So yeah, Ralph's got a lot of neat stuff too. I am going to be contacting Gordy Tong this week. I haven't talked with him in a very long time, and I wanted to see what he's up to and if he wants to come on and talk about things. Gordy's always good for a bunch of new stuff, and it's been a while, so he's probably got a lot of new stuff to talk about. So I'll be contacting him this week, and to see what he's up to and what's going on up in Canada. Lots always going on up in Canada that we don't hear about, and it's nice to have Gordy telling us about it. And it's nice. I like Gordy; he's a good guy. So, and I just feel bad I haven't been in contact with him in such a long time. So it's anyway. So again, if you have spare change laying around or whatever, and you want to donate or to give to this ministry, give a gift. Just go to givesendgo.com and look for just when it does it, you can do a search here. Look for opposing_the_matrix, and you should find our donation site. And anything would be appreciated. I never realized that when I retire how restricted things would become. I look at my dad and my grandparents and how they enjoyed their retirement, and then all of a sudden it gets fast forward to 2022 and 2023, and it's not what they envisioned, nor is it what they experienced. So, and of course, geopolitical things are different than when they were alive and stuff like that. So, if they were alive and they saw everything that was going on, they would probably petition Yahweh to take them back home. I know I would if I was them. So anyway, folks, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Brian and I will be back on Thursday. We've yet to talk about a subject we're going to talk about, or I'll tell you about it right now. There are a lot of interesting things that we've talked about. We just need to coalesce them into one thing. So with that having been said, that's what I wanted to do. Thank you, Yahweh. It's with a lot of sadness. Let me explain what's going on. When I was first saved, listening to Christian music was okay, but it didn't really fulfill me. So I started listening to the Messianic music, and groups like Kol Simcha and the Liberated Wailing Wall was another good one. They're the Jews for Jesus singers, and but I really developed a liking for a group named Lamb, not the new group named Lamb. They're satanic, but the old group named Lamb. A couple of Jewish guys out of Cleveland in that area, and they started up probably in the 70s and went quite strong for a while. Anyway, their music was excellent, and there was a guy that played guitar in there. His name was Rick Coghill. But Joel's mother, I can't remember his last name now. Joel Chernoff's mother, nicknamed Rick Coghill, Levi, because it reminded her of something, Levitical priests or Levitical singers or around the temple. Anyway, so he was an integral part of Lamb. He was Lamb along with Joel Chernoff, and they separated ways probably about maybe 8 years. They were playing music since they were young, since they were both born again, but they separated ways, I don't know, probably in the 80s. And so anyway, I got a letter from my friend Lou today, and Lou informed me that Rick Coghill had passed on. I guess he was born in 1947, and back when a year before Israel was born, the nation, and the same year that the crash in Roswell. So, not that they have anything in common, but those are two things that happened those years. Anyway, so I just wanted to report if you listened to Lamb when you were younger, or if you still do, like I do. One of the people that formed the group has passed on. It's got to be with Yahweh, and you'll get to meet him someday if you haven't. I mean, if that's your destination. And it's going to be a good time meeting him, and all the Christian rockers that have passed on, like Larry Norman and others, and just to get together in the heavenly choir and to sing along with those people will be an honor and a privilege, especially, but not as much as an honor and privilege as the one that's going to be the focus of our attention. Okay. And should it be the focus of our attention all the time, 24/7, 365. Anyway, that's another story, and for another day, another topic for another day. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and end it, and be in prayer for Rick's family, and for the Chernoff family too, because they were very close. And we'll just go ahead and end it here. Again, it's always a pleasure doing this. I love you guys, I really do, and I just hope and pray that everything goes fine for everybody, especially in these turbulent times where we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So let Yahweh worry about the tomorrows. Let's just take care of today's, okay? Easy to say and hard to do, I know, but it can be done with Yahweh's help. So may Yahweh bless you, may he keep you, may he make his face to shine on you, his glorious face, and may he be gracious unto you. May he watch your going out and coming in, your rising up, your lying down. May he watch you at work, may he watch you at play, may he watch you all the time and just watch over you and put his angels over you, and in Yeshua's holy name. And may he just grant you the peace that passes all understanding, that the world cannot understand, but that he imparts upon those who love him. So may he do this in Yeshua's name. May you be blessed and just have a wonderful next couple of days until we get together again and I get to do this again. So be blessed. Yahweh be glorified. And may you have a wonderful sleep tonight in Yeshua's holy name. Amen and amen. Okay, folks. Good night. See you Thursday.